Welcome, my colleagues, to the Guide to Reads. If you have ever found yourself wondering about the future of economic growth and how we can achieve it in a way that doesn't compromise our planet and society, then you're certainly in the right place. In this segment, we will delve into Growth by Daniel Susskind, an insightful exploration of the history, challenges, and immense potential of economic growth. Susskind leads us on a journey to examine how this remarkable phenomenon has shaped our world and offers us invaluable insights into how we can rethink our approach to growth for a more sustainable future. It is important to note that modern economic growth, in its current form, is a relatively recent development, having emerged only a couple of hundred years ago. This sustained period of growth has significantly elevated living standards, reducing poverty, and ushering in an era of prosperity. However, it has also become evident that this growth has come at a considerable cost. The consequences of unchecked growth are becoming increasingly apparent, including the devastating impact on the environment, the widening gap between the haves and the have-nots, and the unsettling disruptions brought about by emerging technologies. The pressing question is how to recalibrate our approach to growth without jeopardizing economic stability. This book aims to provide insights into navigating this critical issue. Together, we will embark on this exploration, guided by an open mind and a sincere aspiration to comprehend the intricacies of our global economy. We will examine past lessons, address current challenges, and identify opportunities for a future where growth and sustainability can coexist in harmony. 1. Escaping the long stagnation. The remarkable journey of economic growth is a tale that spans the expanse of human history, from the humble beginnings of the Stone Age hunter-gatherers to the transformative era of the Industrial Revolution. This narrative unveils the remarkable resilience and ingenuity of our species. It is intriguing to note the striking parallels between the lives of our Stone Age ancestors and those who lived in the 18th century. Despite the apparent advancements in tools and social structures, humanity remained trapped in a state of economic stagnation. In both periods, people's lives were precarious, and they had to scrounge for the bare necessities to survive. This protracted period of stagnation, known as the long stagnation, persisted over millennia, underscoring the pervasive nature of this challenging cycle. It was not until the transformative era of the Industrial Revolution that a significant and sustained improvement in living standards was observed. A review of England's historical wage records, dating back to the 13th century, provides clear evidence of this phenomenon. If we were to chart the trajectory of these wages over time, it would resemble a hockey stick, flat for centuries, before a sudden and sharp rise around the year 1800. This pattern is consistent even when examining earlier civilizations, such as Babylonia and Assyria, which show no substantial improvements over the pre-industrial conditions of England. Researchers have found that some hunter-gatherer societies had a higher caloric intake and more leisure time than laborers in the 1700s, which highlights the long-lasting nature of this economic stagnation. At the heart of this unyielding cycle lies the Malthusian trap, a grim theory propounded by the British economist Thomas Malthus. As populations grow, he argued, they inevitably outstrip the available food supply, dragging societies back into a state of subsistence. For the majority of human history, we were simply unable to escape this trap, no matter how diligently we toiled, until the revolutionary breakthroughs of the Industrial Age. But what, then, is the true driving force behind this newfound, sustainable growth? Early theories, such as the Herod-Domer model, emphasized the importance of investing in physical capital and material resources. However, these models ultimately revealed that such growth would eventually succumb to the law of diminishing returns, rendering the accumulation of resources unsustainable. It was the mid-20th century that brought forth the Solo-Swan model, which shifted the focus to the critical role of technological progress. This model introduced the concept of a steady state, where innovation rather than the mere accumulation of physical resources became the lifeblood of sustainable growth. Later thinkers, such as Robert Lucas and Paul Romer, further refined this understanding, highlighting the pivotal importance of human capital and the unique cumulative nature of ideas. Unlike physical resources, Ideas only grow in value the more they are shared, thereby tying economic growth inextricably to the generation and dissemination of knowledge. Ultimately, my friends, economic growth is not the product of any single factor, but rather the complex interplay of innovation, culture, and a relentless drive to advance our understanding of the world. This tapestry of ideas and efforts has shaped the modern world, offering both unparalleled progress and, as we shall soon discover, profound challenges that we must confront with wisdom and foresight. 2. The birth of GDP. The captivating tale of the birth of GDP, a statistical innovation that has gone on to shape the very fabric of our modern economic landscape. Let me take you on a journey through this remarkable transformation, starting with the pivotal moments of World War II. As the war was unfolding, astute economists like John Maynard Keynes and Simon Kuznets found themselves grappling with a critical question. How could they ensure that the economic resources of nations were being directed towards the war effort without leaving the civilian population destitute? You see, at this point, military spending was not even being accounted for in the broader national economic figures, creating a significant blind spot. This pressing puzzle led to one of the most transformative innovations in economic history, the gross domestic product, or GDP, a measure that would include a much broader range of government expenditures. And with this game-changing tool in hand, the stage was set for GDP to take center stage in the post-war era. During the Cold War, GDP became a crucial weapon in the economic rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union, as each superpower vied to showcase their superior growth. But beyond this geopolitical stage, GDP also played a pivotal role in the implementation of the Marshall Plan, serving as a key metric to determine the level of support and measure the recovery of European nations. By the 1950s, global institutions like the United Nations had firmly cemented GDP as the worldwide standard, solidifying its global influence. And the allure of this metric only continued to grow, as it became inextricably linked to the things that truly matter to people: jobs, health, and education. Economic growth, it seemed, held the promise of both prosperity and social progress. In the United States, the 1945 Employment Act declared the federal government responsible for ensuring every citizen had meaningful work, while in the United Kingdom, the visionary William Beveridge advocated for full employment as a cornerstone of the welfare state, believing it to be crucial to achieving growth. And by the mid-20th century, the focus on growth appeared to be paying dividends. Poverty rates plummeted globally, and societies reaped the benefits of scientific and medical breakthroughs fueled by expanding economies. Growth had truly transformed the health, education, and standards of living across the world. Remarkably, this pursuit of growth even managed to bridge political divides, with both communists and capitalists celebrating its promise. Politicians of all stripes eagerly embraced it, for it offered a simple, universal goal that everyone could rally behind. Yet, my friends, the relentless march towards growth has come with its own hidden costs. Complacency has blinded policymakers to the environmental, cultural, and social downsides of this single-minded focus, a misstep that continues to shape our world today. And it is this complex legacy that we must now grapple with, as we seek to chart a more sustainable course for the future. 3. Tracking the costs. My colleagues and I are committed to achieving economic progress, but we must be vigilant in our approach. In the current era, the threats we face are not confined to any single domain, but rather a tapestry of interconnected challenges that demand our utmost attention. The most pressing of these challenges is the imminent threat of environmental collapse, a crisis that casts a long shadow over our collective future. The rapidly increasing levels of CO2 since 1950, which have reached levels of over 400 parts per million, have led to a significant rise in global temperatures, with the rate of increase being twice that of previous decades. These alarming shifts echo the devastating climate disruptions of the past, but now amplified by the dirty technologies that have fueled our prosperity. Since the turn of the millennium, carbon emissions have increased nearly tenfold faster than any sustained increase in the past 800,000 years, reflecting the significant environmental impact of our growth. These costs are not limited to the natural world alone. the unrelenting pursuit of growth has also led to significant societal divisions, exacerbating the issue of inequality. In the United States, from 1981 to 2017, the wealthiest 0.01% experienced an astonishing five-fold increase in income, while the wages of less educated workers remained stagnant or declined. The technologies and innovations that have fueled our economic growth, including skill-biased advancements, the rise of automation, and capital-favoring tools, have exacerbated these disparities, leading to the hollowing out of mid-level jobs and the concentration of wealth at the very pinnacle of the social hierarchy. And let us not forget the role of globalization, powered by the technological leaps in communication and transport. While it is true that globalization has lifted millions in the developing world out of the clutches of poverty, it has also left the middle class in wealthier nations struggling with stagnant wages and the loss of livelihoods. Miscalculations regarding the true impact of free trade, particularly with nations like China, have only served to exacerbate these divides, fueling the flames of political discontent and the rise of populism. My friends, we must recognize the dual-edged nature of the very forces that have driven our prosperity. The same technologies and growth-centric policies that have ushered in an era of unparalleled abundance have also sown the seeds of division, destabilization, and environmental degradation. It is only by understanding these deep-rooted connections that we can begin to craft solutions that address the intertwined nature of these challenges. The path forward is not an easy one, but it is a journey we must undertake with unwavering resolve and a steadfast commitment to balance. For the true measure of our progress must go beyond the mere accumulation of wealth and the pursuit of growth at all costs. It must be a journey that safeguards the delicate balance of our planet, nurtures the well-being of all, and upholds the timeless values that have long defined the human experience. 4. Rethinking the GDP. When it comes to dealing with the growth paradox, there have been two common responses. One is to start redefining GDP. The other is known as the degrowth movement. Both approaches have their pluses and minuses. While they helpfully illuminate critical flaws in how we think about growth, neither fully resolves the underlying tensions. First, let's focus on GDP. It's true that the current concept of GDP is deeply flawed. For instance, it captures market activity but doesn't take unpaid labor, environmental degradation, or societal well-being into consideration. By turning GDP into a moral compass, society has prioritized what the market values over what people cherish, often to harmful effect. One way to move forward is to apply GDP minimalism. This involves scaling back GDP's dominance and adopting a more nuanced dashboard approach to what the GDP actually measures. This would include metrics that reflect environmental health, inequality, and community well-being. Essentially, a richer, more balanced picture of progress. GDP minimalism could also shift us toward a more moralistic approach. While modern economists have become fixated on technical efficiency, they've lost sight of larger societal questions about what we value and why. Rethinking growth requires moving beyond the single-minded pursuit of more and embracing a wider understanding of human well-being. Over the past 50 years or so, there's also been a growing interest in a different approach, the degrowth movement. Advocates call for scaling back economic activity to reduce environmental harm and realign priorities. But there are contradictions within the movement itself. For instance, some proponents believe that shrinking the GDP and entering a recession is an inevitable part of the process, while others insist it's about reducing waste and rethinking societal goals without causing a recession. These divergent views ultimately undermine the movement's credibility and make it difficult to translate into actionable policy. A big problem with degrowth is its lack of imagination in solving our problems. We can't simply replace one extreme, growth at all costs, with another that outright rejects growth. Instead, we need to find a middle ground, balancing economic progress with ecological responsibility, innovation, and a focus on societal well-being. An important aspect of growth is one that the degrowthers often overlook: ideas. Much of their philosophy draws on the outdated notion that growth is based solely on material resources. but as we'll see in the next section, how we leverage ideas and technology will be key to addressing our problems while also preventing an economic collapse. 5. Growing ideas. So how can we revive and reshape economic growth moving forward? Well, to start, we need to envision a future where ideas, not physical resources, take center stage. Unlike physical resources, ideas are infinite and don't wear out. They also build upon each other, creating endless opportunities for innovation and growth. If we were to embark on a second industrial enlightenment, as the author proposes, it would hinge on 4 strategies that support ideas: reforming intellectual property laws, investing in research and development, expanding economic participation, and utilizing technology. As it stands now, intellectual property laws are outdated and overly restrictive. They've expanded into unnecessary areas like gene patenting, and big companies often use them to stifle competition, blocking smaller firms from innovating and trapping ideas in legal gridlock. Many patent owners don't even develop anything. They sit on their idea and wait for someone to try and do something in order to start a lucrative lawsuit. The author proposes reforms like a use-it-or-lose-it policy for patents and simpler, more balanced laws that encourage collaboration rather than competition. Investing in R&D is another cornerstone of the new approach to growth. For this, we need people and cooperation. Silicon Valley's success has been driven by immigrant workers and government-backed breakthroughs. Despite what many think, the public and private sectors have always worked together to fuel innovation. In many areas, however, research productivity has stagnated in recent years. The discovery of new drugs is just one example where we've seen diminishing returns for an industry that was once flourishing. Over this same period of time, there's also been a growing administrative bloat in universities. Elite institutions like Harvard are employing more administrators than faculty, which invariably leads to an imbalance that stifles innovation. Cutting red tape and refocusing funds on R&D could reinvigorate the pace of progress. Technology, particularly AI, could also offer hope in reversing this trend. IBM's medical research programs and DeepMind's AlphaFold are promising examples of how technology can be used not just to spur ideas, but to make discoveries that change industries. They've already revolutionized areas like protein folding and diagnostics. These kinds of innovations show how we can depart from traditional growth models that focus only on human labor and physical infrastructure. This shift from material prosperity to intellectual progress is key, but we also need to stop chasing growth for its own sake. We need a balanced approach to growth that's centered on solving our problems. With the right tools and knowledge, it is possible to steer economic growth toward outcomes that align with societal values, like reducing inequality and protecting the environment. In the last section, we'll look at a roadmap for navigating the future with this kind of vision and purpose. 6. Trade-offs and incentives. One thing the degrowth movement is absolutely correct about is trade-offs. We need to rethink the costs and benefits of growth that we often take for granted. Growth isn't just about deciding whether to tolerate more inequality for greater prosperity. It involves weighing environmental impact, community well-being, political stability, and job quality against the drive for more output. At the same time, through incentives and applying the right kind of pressure, we can also promote the kind of growth we want. The good news is, we've already seen how innovation can weaken trade-offs. Renewable energy was once seen as an obstacle to economic growth, but clean energy technologies like solar power are now proving that environmental progress can coexist with economic expansion. By shifting incentives and investing in sustainable solutions, society has begun to navigate the once impossible trade-off between economic growth and reducing carbon emissions. The labor market presents another opportunity to reshape trade-offs. Through strategic use of taxes and subsidies, we can incentivize technologies that enhance, rather than replace, human workers. For instance, AI tools that augment productivity without displacing jobs could create a more equitable and resilient workforce. It's about aligning technological progress with societal goals to support the job market. Laws and regulations are vital tools in steering innovation toward the public good. Far from stifling innovation, regulations can channel it in ways that benefit society as a whole. The response to both the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine have shown that societies, when they must, can respond quickly to implementing new ideas, like remote workplaces and alternative energy sources. In the end, trade-offs are unavoidable, but manageable. Strategic decisions can weaken their impact, allowing for growth that's more sustainable and equitable. By shifting our priorities and embracing a broader set of values, like environmental health and social fairness, we can redefine what it means to grow. In doing so, we're reminded that growth isn't an end in itself. It's a means to building a better, more balanced future. Final summary. Growth is a timely and essential exploration of one of the most pressing issues of our time. Daniel Susskind provides a comprehensive analysis of the history, benefits, and costs of economic growth, offering a roadmap for rethinking how we measure and pursue progress. Growth has been a powerful force for good, but it must be reimagined to address the challenges of the 21st century. By adopting new metrics, embracing innovation, and designing smart policies, we can create a future that is both prosperous and sustainable. Whether you're a policymaker, business leader, or concerned citizen, this book offers valuable insights into how we can sustain growth without compromising our planet and society. Ready to rethink growth and contribute to a sustainable future? Start by educating yourself about alternative measures of progress and supporting policies that prioritize well-being and sustainability. If this summary inspired you, grab a copy of Growth and join the conversation about shaping a better future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Guide to Reads for more transformative book insights. Remember, the future of growth is in our hands. Let's make it a future we can all thrive in.